Stetson. We love y'all, and thank you so much for coming back and supporting Sunday at Stetson's. We're gonna drop the second Sunday because it's gonna be the second or third.
Or none at all.
Or fourth, or every other.
Yeah.
But we'll keep you posted.
I'm gonna just basically say hi to these guys and get out of the way. Pete Price is one of the best songwriters in the state of Florida. Just absolutely amazing guy. Pete and I have co-written and we've performed together, and you're just gonna love what he does. Pete Hennings plays in one of my bands, the mixed media band. He's just everywhere. Does everything. Just a remarkable, multi-talented musician. These are 2/3 of the 2 p.m. band. If you've ever heard the 2 p.m. band, they were here in 2019 or 2020.
All the years blurred together.
Everything got, but they were here before the great seclusion.
Right.
So these guys are the 2 Ps of 2 p.m. But we're just delighted to have them back. We're delighted to have live music back. Pete, it's all yours. Pete Price, Pete Hennings.
Don't think of us as 2/3 of. Don't think of us as 2/3 of 2 p.m. Today it's Mr. Price.
Exactly.
He's the Lone Ranger, and I'm playing Tonto.
There you go.
Actually, I'm playing bass, but
We'll do a handful of songs from the 2 p.m. repertoire, but not very much. Pete and I thought we'd take this opportunity, since Mike couldn't be with us, to explore some songs that I've written over the years that we don't perform, and some covers that I enjoy that we don't perform. So I threw a lot of new stuff at Pete over the last couple of weeks, and he's been a real trooper. So my hats off to Pete for picking it up and learning a bunch of new songs. So we'll see how it goes. But I will open up with something that's, if you've heard us play before with a band, it'll be familiar. It seems appropriate after coming out of COVID. Kind of seems like the world is opening up again. We got the sun is shining again, and it's a beautiful day after so many days of darkness. Anyway, so the song is called "Beautiful Day." Song I wrote looking out my back window, watching the day come to life out in St. Martin's Marsh and Aquatic Preserve. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sawgrass waving in a gentle marsh breeze, a pileated pecker tapping on a palm tree, otters on the move looking for a fish, osprey keeping watch from a satellite dish, a kingfisher popping in and out of the creek. Smell the coffee perking and waking me up. Hear the pipe gurgling and she brings me a cup. Morning coming about on the preserve, St. Martin's Marsh, its own little world. All of God's creatures carrying on. So the morning begins. I'm sitting on the back porch and I'm drinking it in. Oh, just like a fine Cabernet. What a beautiful day. Hair hangs heavy at the first morning light. It's time to get ready, I'm thinking I might try to take it easy, not push it too hard. What's wrong with mowing only half of the yard? It's not like any of my neighbors complain. So the morning begins. I'm sitting on the back porch and I'm drinking it in. Oh, just like a fine Cabernet. What a beautiful day. Ooh. music to them and it's music to me. So morning begins. I'm sitting on the back porch and I'm drinking it in. Oh, just like a fine Cabernet. What a beautiful day. Oh, like a pool say, what a beautiful day. And this next one is one that I actually wrote this many years ago. We used to do this with a friend John Sims, but it's another one that thinking about coming out of the pandemic. I think a lot of people have kind of reset their gyros a little bit and decided, well, I'm not doing that anymore. This is more important to me. And some folks, as far as we're not going to work in the office all the time anymore. People are making some changes and making some different choices. And this song I wrote about kind of looking around and realizing that what you have is enough, and that you're satisfied with what you have, and more, bigger, better is not always more satisfying. It can be, but it's not always more satisfying. So this song's called I've Got Enough.
Of course, you should see his guitar collection.
Yeah. How many guitars do you need?
One more.
Just one more.
That's right. Anyway, so this is I've Got Enough. I used to want me a shiny Porsche and a '64 Corvette. Those are things I couldn't afford, I knew I'd never get. I settled on a Honda and a '67 Bug. And you know I'm kind of fond of the way things ended up, 'cause I'm doing fine. I've got enough to call home mine, I don't need more stuff. I love my wife and my 2 dogs, and that's enough. They fill my life, I don't need more stuff. Well, I used to work from 9 to 5 in a city with a crowd. Twice a day I'd make the drive going in and out of town. It never made much sense to me just to keep up with the Jones. So I moved out to the country, and I just had to let it go. Now I'm doing fine. I've got enough to call home mine, I don't need more stuff. I've got my wife and those 2 lazy dogs, but that's enough. They fill my life, I don't need more stuff. I've got to get rid of this clutter, man, it's driving me insane. Everything I own's another item to maintain, and I'm after George Floyd was killed and all the unrest that was happening all across the country. And during that time, Emmanuel Acho, who was an ex-NFL football player, started a series, and I saw one of his on YouTube. They're on there if you want to look them up. It's called An Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, and a rather formidable black man, I might add, as a former NFL player. He's a big guy. But the episode I saw was with Matthew McConaughey. Just he and Matthew McConaughey just sat around and they were just talking about their experiences. And Matthew can be a little bit out there sometimes, but he did good. He toward the end of the conversation, he brought it around and quoted Langston Hughes' poem, America Again. And I probably won't quote this exactly right, but what he quoted the lines, "Let America be America again, the nation that has never yet been but must be." And that just struck a chord with me, because I think we've never quite lived up to our ideals. We seem to be moving in the right direction, and that's a good thing. And so, but I really like that the quote. I had to go read the poem. It's called America Again. So I wrote kind of in that same idea. The song's called America at Last. As I was telling Pete the other day, it's unfortunate this all started in Minneapolis, because Minneapolis does not sing very well, and you will hear that in this song. And when the last verse comes around, I changed the cities around. I thought, well, here's your opportunity to get a city that sings well. So I chose Philadelphia, which is equally hard, another 5-syllable word. But anyway, this song's called America at Last. Ready? 2. From the streets of Minneapolis and Atlanta, Georgia too, and all the way from LA County, is coming change long overdue. Well, people walking in their sleep now, while others live in pain, and people crying in the streets. Reconcile the past and claim our birthright now before us, and be America at last. Together hand in hand, vanquish hate in every corner, erase the stain upon this land. From the streets of Philadelphia and Austin, Texas too, and all the way from King County, it's coming change long overdue. All the people of this country, it's coming change long overdue. Thank you. This next song, I always like to say that I have the privilege and the honor of playing music with two of the nicest and most generous people in folk music, and that's my buddy here, Pete Hennings.
I thought you had another band.
And Mike Jorgensen, who's not with us today, but they're just always doing for others, and you know, people say I'm a nice guy, but in comparison, you know, well, you know, every group's got one. So.
He's the nicest guy I know.
But you know, I thought I'd take a page out of their playbook, and if not actually doing something nice for somebody, I'd write a song about doing something nice for somebody. You know, so why jump in the deep end of the pool right off the bat? You know, so. Anyway, so this song is called "It Only Takes a Minute," and it's got a chorus. Unlike a lot of my songs, this chorus comes around quite often, so it can be a nice sing-along if you like. Just jump in when you're comfortable. It's got a very simple chorus. And the chorus is, it only takes a minute for you to make a difference. For you to make a difference, shine a little light. It only takes a minute. Won't you take a minute? Won't you shine a little light in somebody's life? So it's a very simple lyric. Easy melody, and if you feel so inclined, jump in and sing along. Well, he's got a cardboard sign, and you've got a dollar. Life's treating you just fine. It's treating him harder. Ooh, just look all around you. Ooh, and help where you can. You know she's doing the best that she can. Just a couple steps more, you could reach out and lend a hand just by holding the door. Ooh, just look all around you. Ooh, and help where you can. 'Cause it only takes a minute for you to make a difference. For you to make a difference. Shine a little light, it only takes a minute. Won't you take a minute? Won't you shine a little light in somebody's life? His walls have come closing in ever since she's been gone. There's no words you can offer him, but you could call on the phone. Say that it is. If you can make someone smile, you get more than you give. And it only takes a minute for you to make a difference. For you to make a difference, shine a little light. It only takes a minute. Won't you take a minute? Won't you shine a little light in somebody's life? It only takes a minute for you to make a difference. You to make a difference, shine a little light. It only takes a minute. Won't you take a minute? Won't you shine a little light in somebody's life? Won't you shine a little light in somebody's life? Won't you shine a little light in somebody's life? Thank you. Thank you very much. Doing that, appreciate that. Appreciate the help. Oh, yeah. See, that's the other capo. Well, I'm just really excited to be here today. So thank Paul for having us out today. This is just so much fun to be out playing live music in front of such a good-looking audience. This is a song that we picked up Kevin Welch did a version of this. He didn't write it, but it's just one of those nice, simple songs. And when I was first learning this song, my mom was visiting, and she was just sitting there knitting, and I had my guitar, and I was kind of picking this thing out. And she said, that just makes me think of an old hymn. Very, very comforting, very, just one of those kind of familiar kind of sounding songs. A song called "I Can't Wait." Someday we'll roll away the stone that we have carried for so long, and all our burdens will be gone, and I can't wait. We'll find our way to an understanding of all views. No prayer will be refused. I can't wait. Seems we've gone too far. Now we don't know where we are. I believe we'll find a guiding star. I can't wait. If faith is the final place where all fears have been erased, locks have fallen from the gate, I can't wait. Someday we'll roll away the stone that we have carried for so long, and all our burdens will be gone. I can't wait. We'll find our way to an understanding of all views. No prayer will be refused, and I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you. Thank you.
Pete threw a lot of songs at me the last couple of weeks. We had a chance to rehearse about 3 times, I think. This next song really challenged me.
Well, Pete's been a real trooper, and I appreciate all the effort he's put into it. But this next song was inspired by something. One of my favorite writers is a woman by the name of Gretchen Peters. She's a Nashville Hall of Fame songwriter, and I was reading an article or an interview with her, and she said when she first started out as a young woman, she said, I wanted to write songs that had answers, and said something and had answers. And she said, I quickly realized I didn't have the answers. So then I began to get more interested in the things that keep you up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I could really relate to that. I think we probably all have been there. When you wake up in the middle of the night and it's dark, and your wife or your husband or your partner is dead asleep, it's just you in the dark, and all the demons kind of come out, and you think about, oh, I wish I hadn't have done that, how am I ever going to get out of this mess, or I wish I hadn't said that. And so all the things that you end up going through in your mind, kind of fighting against yourself, these ghosts that you're arguing with, and then without a sign, that just kind of you drift back off into sleep. But that idea of things that keep you up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I really liked. And so this song came out of that. I wrote the song, and often I write a song with a melody or chord progression in mind, but this one I didn't. I wrote the song, and then I had to cram it into a chord progression. And I tried several. And
So you came up with this one in 7/4 time.
yeah, and this is weird because I tried several different chord progressions, and finally I locked into this one. And oftentimes in the morning, when I'm kind of in that drifting stage between sleep and consciousness, open my eyes, so I got 15 minutes more, close my eyes, and that's, if I'm writing a song, I'll start going through the lyrics in my head in that semi-conscious state. And usually I have my hand on the pillar next to me, and I'll just be tapping out with my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I realized this song is not a 3/4, it's not a 4/4, it's actually in 7, and which I really couldn't have done had I tried. So, so for all you out there counting, it's a 7. So, which I was really happy about, because I always wanted to write something like in a 5, but just haven't been able to do it consciously. So anyway, this song is called "Last Man Standing." Call. I ain't drinking that bottle after all. But it's the second I've uncorked tonight. I guess that's one small victory in the fight. Well, those ghosts that I've been arguing with ain't backing down, not 1 inch. So for now I'll keep my fears at bay, live to fight another day. Well, I slept quiet between the sheets, and that red wine drifts me off to sleep. But like clockwork right at 4 a.m. those ghosts come streaming back again. And I'm right back where we left off with the shoulds and coulda beens. I ain't making any ground. At every turn I'm staring down another blind dead end, and another losing round. Another losing round. Spent, turned and tossed as I do my best to shake it off. Then without a sign those ghosts are gone, just gone. Leave me drowsing in the dawn. And I'm the last man standing, I've given it my best. I put up one hell of a fight. Nothing that I said last night lays anything to rest. There'll be another round tonight. Another round tonight. $12 at my last call. I ain't drinking that bottle after all. But it's the second I've uncorked tonight. I guess that's one small victory in the fight.
The trick to avoiding the demons coming at you at 4 in the morning is to stay up past that. I can't do it anymore. I remember those days. Oh, it's time for that one.
You know, over the years, we as a band have done workshops at folk festivals on songwriting. Oftentimes we talk about, co-writing or group writing, but it seems like most often we get questions about, well, how do you start? Where does it come from? Is it a chord progression? Is it a lyric? And it can be. My answer is yes. It can be any and all of those things. This one was a weird one. I was watching a band called the Mavericks on TV, And they luckily had the guitar player framed just right so he was singing, but I could also see his hands. And he went from this chord, the C major 7, pretty kind of nice, sweet, to this chord, which is a B flat 9 over an F, which makes it very interesting. You get that out of the way. So from this chord to this, I thought, well, that's a really neat move. So I grabbed my guitar immediately and played those 2 chords back and forth. At the time, I was learning stuff like, it's not the pale moon that excites me, thrills and delights me, oh no. So I had all those kind of chord changes in my head, and all those old kind of standard things. And I thought, well, I wonder if I could take this, which sounds kind of somber and kind of blue, and I wonder if I could make some kind of a old standard kind of a sounding song out of that. So that's where I headed. So the trick is to go from here to here and say, well, where would it go from there?
If we went to costuming now, we would be wearing berets and smoking cigarettes.
So we can pipe in
Adding a glass of brandy.
Yeah, pipe in cigarette smoke to the room. Everybody gets a cocktail. Lights go down. This song is called "Take a Look at Myself," and it's just a frightfully sad song. Yeah. I need a snare drum with brushes on this song. Take a look at myself.
Yeah.
That song almost has more chords in it than I know. So,
I need a whole shower.
oh.
This will bring it.
This will bring it back up. This is a song that I wrote. I live in an area called, well, it's in St. Martin's Marsh and Aquatic Preserve, a little town called Ozella, which is near Crystal River. And we are very low lying. We are out there in the marshlands, and so it's pretty obvious to me after living there for since 1997 that the sea level is rising. There's no doubt about that. So I thought, well, when you live at sea level, it's pretty obvious. So I wrote this song about living at sea level. tropics, they're spinning bigger storms. Well, it's practically illogical to live here anymore. Insurance rates are rising, they're going up and up and up. And like the sun on the horizon, we're sinking slowly in the Gulf. You know, I used to walk these beaches, waves lapping at my feet. Well, now the shoreline reaches right on up into the street. Flooding and erosion, a catastrophe, no doubt. We better wake up and take notice, try to get this figured out. Because it came just like they warned us, on a rising tide. And it may be inconvenient, but there's nowhere left to hide. Because our world, it is a-changing, it's changing right before our eyes. When you're living at sea level, you can't deny the signs. You know this climate situation, well, it mystifies DC. Confusion and conflation at all levels and degrees. But there's truth in that old adage now, so don't you ever doubt it. They all talk about the weather, but they don't do nothing about it. Well, it's been years now in the making, ignoring all the facts. Years and years of taking, Lord, and never giving back. We've been dancing with the devil, and it's time to pay the price. When you're living at sea level, you can't deny the signs. You know it came just like they warned us, on a rising tide. And then it may be convenient, but there's nowhere left to hide. Cause our world, it isn't changing, it's changing right before our eyes. When you're living at sea level, you can't deny the signs. When you're living at sea level, no, you can't deny the signs. You can't deny the signs. You can't deny the science. You can't deny the science. You can't deny the science. We're living at sea level. You just can't deny those signs.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you get a lot of water with the house that it came through?
We got, as it went through, we didn't get anything, but after it passed through, because the way we're situated in the geometry, we got some flooding afterward. Came up in the yard and over the driveway, but not, we're in a stilt house and we have some storage areas under the house, but it didn't come over our slab, so it was really pretty. We could have been a lot worse.
That was a test run.
Test run.
Right.
I don't know, I mean, we took down all our lawn furniture, everything heavy. I live in Full City in Citrus County. We moved a lot of stuff, and then that night, it's like a few branches came down, and that was about it. So the next day, we loaded all the furniture back in. But now we know where everything fits. We're ready for the next. By the way, Pete, did you realize if we get that far, like we did last year, we have a Hurricane Peter this year?
Oh.
Look forward to
Yeah.
it.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
All right, well, hopefully we won't get that far.
Last year we made it all the way through the alphabet and then
I mentioned Kevin Welch earlier. I got a chance to meet him when I went to a workshop up in Nashville. He wasn't teaching, but he was facilitating. He's a real nice guy. I really enjoyed meeting him and listening to his tunes. This is one song that he did, and I immediately fell in love with it, and I decided I had to come home and learn it. It's a song called "Killing Myself." And he said he wrote this song, he came back off the road and ran into a buddy of his that was also come back from touring, and they just kind of looked at each other, man, we're just out there killing ourselves. And so they kind of looked at each other like, oh, there's a song in there. So they put this together. been killing myself, slow and steady, just killing myself. I don't know why I keep killing myself. I ain't even ready to die. Lately I've been wound so tight, I can't sleep at night. I listen to the clock, the tick-tick-tock, and my dreams won't come. I said my dreams won't come. I've got to change my ways. Hey, hey, hey. I keep killing myself, slow and steady, just killing myself. I don't know why I keep killing myself. I ain't even ready to die. I keep killing myself, slow and steady, just killing myself. I don't know why I'm killing myself, and I ain't even ready to die. Work, work, work. Hurt, hurt, hurt. I listen to the clock, tick, tick, tock, and my dreams won't come. I said my dreams won't come. Thank you. Time for one more of this set, or you want me to
Go for it.
You good? Okay. Get us back in tune. It's an old Buffalo Springfield tune that we learned.
Or Poco.
Or Poco. Actually written by Neil Young. Song called On the Way Home. All right. Had it out of tune on that last song. All right, we'll go with that.
You only tune the bass once every few years, whether it needs it or not.
When the dream came, I held my breath with my eyes closed, and I went insane like a smoke ring day when the wind
Awesome set. We'll be back in 15 minutes.
Thank you for coming out. We are just thrilled to be here, and I'm just so happy to have Pete with me.
I'm happy to be here.
This next song is I wrote a couple, I guess several years ago now. The Barberville settlement, for those who may be familiar with it, some of you are. Some time ago, they put together a project to raise some money, and they asked songwriters to write songs about the various buildings that they have, the old historic buildings that they have saved and they have there. And several of my friends were part of the project, and I recorded their songs at my house. And I think I probably recorded 5 or 6. I can't remember now. But I got them all recorded. Then I sent them to Al Scortino. And Al did the compilation for the CD. And when they sold the CD, all the proceeds went to the settlement. Anyway, so I sent my songs to Al, and he sent me an email about a week later. And I thought, oh, there's a problem with one of my songs. And
Just to clarify, these are songs by other people that you
Right.
actually did.
I'm sorry, did I not make that? Yeah. Got it? Okay.
I already knew it.
So Al said that there's a problem. All the songs you sent, they sound great, but one of our songwriters dropped out, and we needed to have somebody else write another song. And they asked if there was anybody else that I could think of that would write a song, and I gave them your name. Would that be okay? And well, I knew that the deadline was already long past, and I thought, well, I don't work well under pressure, so I'm really not that into doing this. And he said, we need a song about the blacksmith. And I thought, oh, well, that's something I'm kind of interested in. So I agreed to do it, and I wrote this song about the blacksmith. It's called Harden the Steel. And it occurred to me, as you beat on a piece of steel, you work hard in it. And I thought, well, the blacksmith is getting a, yes, sir.
Can I record you?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I know a blacksmith.
Oh, do you
It's
really?
kind of a lost art.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It is. Yes, indeed.
You'd appreciate this. Thank you.
Okay.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's great. That's great. I always introduce the song, and I said, this is for all the blacksmiths out in the audience. It's like, raise your hands. There's not many of them left. But that's what I found out as I was doing research for the song. Is that I think it was Colt or one of the fellows that was making firearms, and they absolutely required that their guns would have replaceable parts. And that was one of the things that was the first thing that started driving the blacksmith out of business, because they didn't do that. They made individual pieces. They were artisans. And you couldn't build a firearm that would have replaceable parts, but a blacksmith wouldn't do that. So that was the mass production and the assembly lines that was put the first nail in the coffin. So a lot of the blacksmiths at that point went to being farriers, and then Henry Ford came along and created the Model T, and that so it's like you say, it's a lost art. Anyway, so this song is called Harden the Steel. Has begun, and it's an ancient dance from a forge to the base of the anvil, and a hammer keeps the time till the steel relents and becomes the shape I see only in my mind. Heat it, hammer it, heat it again, draw it out and flatten it, and then the hiss of the wrench, the temper and the nail. Steel, cold soot and sweat season the air, pounding of steel on steel on steel, relentlessly, punishingly there. Hinges and hooks, locks and chains, axe heads, files, all shapes of blades, newels and nails and weather vanes are but a sampling of my trade. forged by the hammer and the anvil. He did hammer it, he did again, brought out lightning and the hiss of the quench, the temper and the needle. Work hard in the smith, work hard in the steel. The hiss of the quench, the temper and the needle. Work hard in the smith, work hard in the steel.
Did you check the score?
This next tune, speaking of Barberville, last time we were there, I had the opportunity to sit in with Paul and Kay and Bob Bronauer and Pete. And one of the songs that Paul did is one that I was vaguely familiar with. I could fake my way through it, but I find it gave me the inspiration to go home and actually learn all the lyrics. It's a song written by Guy Clark and Verlin Thompson, a song called Boats to Build. And I really identify with this song because I had built a boat. I built a 7-foot lap straight dinghy back in 93, 94, just shortly after my dad passed away. And I got all of his woodworking tools. He had, table saw, drill press, and all that kind of stuff. And I learned very quickly that there are not very many straight line cuts that you make when you're building a boat. I cut, I think, and I made it lap straight, which is all the overlapping laps. And, everything I cut by hand with a saber saw. And then you have to plane it all down where those laps overlap, and you build it upside down. That's kind of why I'm doing it this way. You have to plane this one down so that the lap on top hits it just right at the right angle, so you got a good contact. But then I realized that angle doesn't stay the same either. As the boat turns and curves, the whole thing is a handmade project. So those of my dad's power tools didn't help me out too much. But so when people talk about building boats, I've built one. I have a real appreciation for that. But this song is Verlin and Guy. They're up in Nashville, and they had a buddy. His name was God, I wish I hadn't said that. Richard Lee was a friend of theirs, and Richard's wife paid for him to go up to Maine, upstate Maine, go to the School of Wood and Boat Building. So Guy and Verlin were back in Nashville just thinking, wow, we're down here writing songs, and he's up there building boats. And that's how this song came about. Boats to Build. just took to reading. I just started, you know, got my wife's iPad, went to the online library in Citrus County, and just started downloading books and reading, and really enjoyed that quite a bit. I hadn't done a lot of reading recently, so that was fun for me. And then I realized that there was a book that I had read back in 2014 before I went to a songwriting workshop. They had asked that you read the book Let the Great World Spin before coming up for the workshop. So I'd read that. I thought, you know, I'd dig that out and read it again. It was a book that takes place, it's fiction, it takes place in New York, but it starts out with an actual event. And if you may remember when Philippe Petit, he was a French aerialist, and he and his crew, back in the early 70s when the Twin Towers were being constructed, they broke in, rode up to the top, and strung a wire between the Twin Towers. And he did a high wire act some 1,300 feet above the streets of New York City. And that's how the book opens up. But you know, that's just an audacious thing to do. And but I thought and it just got in my mind this whole thing about this guy walking a tight wire between the Twin Towers. So I was thinking about it for a couple of days, and I started writing the song. And I went looking for the book, I couldn't find it. And so finally, when I was done with the song and I told my wife about it, she disappeared for about a minute and came back with a book in her hand. Okay. So I opened the book, the first page of the book, and I was dumbfounded. And I hadn't cracked this book, and well, I couldn't find it, obviously. I hadn't read it in like 7 years. The first line of the book is, "Those who saw him hushed." Well, the first line of the song is, "There's a hush falling over the crowd at the high wire act," and I thought, how did that kind of stuff happen? So anyway, this song is about walking a high wire act, and kind of how we all do one from time to time. I kind of feel like I'm doing one right now. Normally we have playing in the band, but this is a little different for me. But so anyway, the song's called High Wire Act. All right.
He likes to joke that as he's tuning, he can tell when
That's right.
my face turns to a smile.
When the eyebrow comes down, you know, you got that raised eyebrow, and the closer you get, the lower the eyebrow gets. It's as accurate as a digital tuning. It's like, all right. 1, 2, 3. Illusions come tumbling down at the slightest mistake. An impulse unchecked, or you misjudge the next step you take. At some point in the show, you know things are bound to get real. But that's why you go on that wire to feel what you feel. Hush falling over the crowd at the high wire act. Remember, there's no looking down, there's no turning back. Thank you. Thank you. Well, after that song, I always have to do this song. This was written by a dear friend of mine, Herb McCullough. He was a Nashville songwriter for many years, and I met him when he moved to the state of Florida to be closer to family. I met him at a guitar pick in Dunellen, and we struck up a friendship pretty quickly, and then he found out that I had some recording equipment at the house, and he got real interested in that. And he said, you know, Pete, as a songwriter in Nashville, he said every time I would demo a song, I'd go into a studio, and he went into, you know, top end studios. He said, but all I had, the session players would come in, and they would straighten everything out. You know, they would say, well, you can't add that extra beat there, or you can't sing on it, or we can't sell it. And so they would make it, you know, they'd put it in the box, make it pretty, make it sellable, so they could shop it around town. And he obviously appreciated that because, you know, he wanted his songs to sell, but it also had changed the song from the way that he wrote it. And so I said, I want to come over to your house and record all my songs the way I heard them in my head when I wrote them, not the way that we demoed them or the way that we recorded it. So, and that was a lot of fun. I said, sure, yeah, you bet, we'll do that. So he came over we did that for a number of years and just had a great time, and he told a lot of great stories. But this is a song of his, it's called Don't Look Down. And he wrote this with his friend Taylor Pye. And Taylor was with the band Pozo Seco Singers with Don Williams. But she's got a nice version on YouTube. It's kind of a neat song. It's called Don't Look Down. Since we just did the High Wire Act.
Did you plan it that way?
I did. I absolutely did. Nothing left to chance. I'm dreaming, maybe I'm awake, but lately I've been walking on the waters of Box Lake. Waves lift me higher, I'm hoping I don't drown. Pelican fly by, squawking, don't look down, don't look down. Don't look down. Just keep your eyes on the sky and your hopes up in the clouds. Whoa, 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 let go. Down below, don't you know you're heading bound? So don't look down. Does it really matter? Can anybody tell which one is the real world? What's the wishing well? The universe is a humming, it's such a soulful sound. Satchel floating by saying, don't look down, don't look down. Don't look down. Just keep your eyes on the sky and your hopes up in the clouds. Whoa, 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 let go. Down below, don't you know we're heading back? look down. Just keep your eyes on the sky and your hopes up in the clouds. Whoa, ho, ho, let go. Look down below, don't you know we're heading down? So don't look down. Oh, let go. Look down below, don't you know? Well, don't you know we're all heaven bound? So don't look down. Don't look Woo! Thank you. Where'd my color go, Kevin? Don't look down.
That should be a band song. It should be.
We could do that. This next one was also written by Kevin Welch. He wrote this song when his daughter was born. A song called "Too Old to Die Young." And he said, when his daughter was born, the whole idea of your own mortality kind of hit him, and so he wrote this song. And now his daughter is an adult; she has her own band, and they do this song too. So it's come all the way around. Too old to die young. If life is like a candle bright, then death must be the wind. You can close your window tight, but it still comes blowing in. So I will climb the highest hill and watch the rising sun, and pray that don't feel that chill till I'm too old to die young. from Triple H Song. This is a song I wrote several years ago again. This is on a Veterans Day, and I was reading the news online, and I ended up at NPR, their website, excuse me. And there was an article by a woman, her dad was a Vietnam vet, and she was explained in the article, and also she had a short documentary that accompanied the article, that she, growing up, didn't really understand what was going on with her dad, but as she got older, she realized he suffers from PTSD. So she got interested in that, and so she researched his time there and tracked down a bunch of his buddies that were in the same platoon. They were out on patrol in August of 1968. There were about 90 of them, and they were ambushed by 1,000 North Vietnamese troops. So it was pretty horrific. So these guys that she talked to, there very few of them survived that. And so she talked to her dad's buddies, and they all continue to live it to this day. And the documentary just got under my skin and just really affected me. And I thought, there's a song in this, but in 1968 I was 10 years old, and I said, I hardly feel like I'm the one to tell this story. But then I realized this documentary, these guys were telling the story. All I had to do was put it together, make it rhyme, and put it to music. So most everything in the song comes out of the documentary, comes out of their words, their experiences. But as a songwriter, sometimes you always wonder, how do I get into this song? How do I enter into this? And my dad was a retired Army colonel. He was 30 years in the Army. He was went World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And he was a smoker back in those days. And I remember as a kid, he carried around a Zippo lighter. If you were in the military, everybody has a Zippo lighter. But he carried around a Zippo lighter and had the big red one on it, the 1st Infantry Division. I remember seeing that so many times as a kid. So I used that as a kind of a symbol to get me into the song. So the first part of the song is a tip of the hat to my dad. The rest of it comes from this documentary. I'll go back tonight.
Good though.
We had time for it.
One nice thing about being here today, a lot of times you don't get a chance to tell the story. You got one?
Got one? Yeah, so it is nice to be able to tell the story behind the songs. Anyway, this song's called I'll Go Back Tonight. Beat up Zippo and engraved with a big red one. Slid a mile of camels, why not light another one? The accessible trigger to a place from long ago, with memories and nightmares only guys like me would know. Some called it Southeast Asia, some called it Vietnam. To us we were in country and we could not give a damn about much except to make it through this day and then another. Keep a close eye on yourself, keep the other on your brother. You asked me when I was in Nam, well I was there this morning, and I wound up there this afternoon. No heads up and no warning. And just before you asked, I was in that firefight. I've been here and there since '68, and I'll go back tonight. Faded black and white I keep here on my desk. Most people pick it up as if it were some kind of test. I watch them peeling back the years to recognize my face, but I only see the men whose faces never got to age. Now in the old days it was shell shock and battle fatigue. Now a simple acronym, it's all the same to me. You see, whatever name you call it, there's a wound deep in my soul. Well, you can medicate, you can compensate, but you can never make me whole. You asked me when I was in Nam, well, I was there this morning, and I wound up there this afternoon. No heads up and no warning. Just before you asked, I was in that firefight. I've been here and there since '68, and I'll go here. And going back to where do songs come from, many years ago, I guess I went down to, it was a Sam Ash and a guitar place down in Tampa to see a workshop given by Artie Traum and Wendy Wallman. Pete was the one that turned me on to Artie Traum and his music. And was just the nicest guy. I had a CD and I took it down there with me and told him that we played it as our break CD, and he signed it and wanted to know all about the music that we played. And it's always nice when you meet someone that you admire and look up to, and if they're just really nice people, it's always a pleasure. But he was a sweet guy. And, lost him too early, but he had a song. I don't even remember what the song was, but there was a particular lyric line that went by, and it just said, "It's a good night for gambling." And I thought, oh, I like that. And I stuck it in my back pocket and took it home and wrote a song around it. So you just never know where the inspiration's going to come. So this one, I have to thank Artie Traum for this one. 2, 3, 4, It's a good night for gambling. I can win, I can lose. I could be rolling in dough, I could be singing the blues. But I'm going for broke, I want to spend a little time with you. It's a good night for getting out and seeing the sights, feel the beat of the town, see the bright neon lights, find out just what's going down in this here little town, me and you. 'Cause I've got everything I want when you're near me. Everything I need when you're around. Man, I can hardly keep my feet on the ground when you're around. When you're around, I got it all and I don't need nothing more when you're around. Well, it's a good night for romance, we'll see where that goes. Just take a chance on this here Romeo, I'll give you 2 to 1. We can double our fun, me and you. 'Cause I've got everything I want when you're near me. Everything I need when you're around. Man, it's like someone gave me the keys to the town. When you're around. When you're around, I got it all and I don't need nothing more when you're around. I've been thinking about the way I'd like things to be. Thinking about the way you're looking at me. You agree? It's a good night for gambling. I can win, I can lose. Could be rolling in dough, I could be singing the blues. But going for broke, I want to spend a little time with you. You know I'm going for broke, I want to spend a little time. I'm going for broke, I want to spend a little time. I'm going for broke, I want to spend a little time with you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. How about that bass player, huh?
I can't tell you how much fun I'm having. Kind of stretching yourself with a different configuration and playing with the rest of the band. And he has so many nice songs that it's just fun to play along.
Well, that particular song, I mean, there's a lot of things when I'm playing it with just the guitar. There's little fills that I try to put in. I don't need to do that with him over there playing that. It makes it much easier for me to play the song. So it's a lot of fun. It's fun to hear. It was fun to hear him figure out the parts for some of these songs. It was really kind of cool. So I appreciate you being here, Pete. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
this next tune takes a little bit of getting into. Halloween in 2003, we adopted our first racing greyhound, a retired racing greyhound. And we've had now 4 in all those years. And now that racing is no longer happening in Florida, this is our last one, so you really can't get them anymore. So we've enjoyed them, and they are quirky. I will tell you that much as a breed. When you get them, they tell you either have to have a fenced-in yard or you have to keep them on a leash all the time because they can have a very high prey drive. It's not surprising that greyhounds are mentioned in the Bible, so it's a very old breed, and we've bred them, a couple thousand years to chase things. And then on top of that, we train them to chase a lure on a track. So it's not surprising that they would chase a small animal or a squirrel or something like that. So you got to keep them under control. Physiologically, they're different. Their red blood cell their red blood count is much higher than other dogs. So if you have a vet looking at your dog's blood work, if they don't know what they're looking at, they might misdiagnose it. We had one of our dogs we took to the vet not too long ago. He was just kind of sluggish, and she was worried about him, so she did an X-ray. She says, "Gosh, the spleen looks very suspect, and it might be a tumor." So she sent it to radiology, and the report came back. The spleen is prominent, which is typical of the breed. So there's just a lot of things that are weird about these dogs. And when they're born, they tattoo their ears. They get a serial number in one ear, and they get their birth date and their litter number in the other ear. So they're identifiable, and that's for the racing, so they can identify for sure that's who this dog is. But so they all have their little tattoos in their ears. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun to write a song, but the real inspiration for this was I had Molly, one of our females, and she was a beautiful dog, but she had some issues. But she was all black with like a tuxedo white patch here, and all of her paws were white. And I had her in the waiting room at the vet. We were the only ones in the waiting room. And my vet walked by the door, and he stopped and did a double take, put his head back in the door, and he said, "That ain't no dog, that's a greyhound." And I thought immediately, he has history with this breed. He understands this dog because they're different. But I also thought, as a songwriter, great line for a song. That ain't no dog, that's a greyhound. So I went home and wrote this song. And it swings. Tattoos from the registrar. They stand up when they're perked, and they flop over like a pair of handlebars, and she can pull them back flat till her head's almost round. That ain't no dog, that's a greyhound. You can take her out for a whirl, but don't let her off of that leash, 'cause she'll bolt for a squirrel fast as lightning its grease, and then she'll cover 3 counties before she'll ever be found. That ain't no dog, that's a greyhound. You know that double suspension gait lets her run like the wind. She can fly through a track 1/4 mile. But I'll tell you, that hound is truly thin-skinned. Best keep your vet's number on speed dial. Ooh, go dog go. Ooh, go dog go. Ooh. Go cat go. You know that double suspension gait lets her run like a wind. She can fly through a track 1/4 mile. But I'll tell you, that hound is truly thin-skinned. Best keep your vet's number on speed dial. From an Abilene farm to a kennel and a track to your house safe and warm. And she's retired and she ain't looking back. On your bed, on your sofa, you know that's where she's gonna be found. That ain't no dog, that's a greyhound. On your bed, on your sofa, you know that's where she's gonna be found. That ain't no dog, that's a greyhound. Thank you. Yeah, the thing about being thin-skinned, they're very fragile skin. The first time when we brought Lucy home, she was our first one. First thing you got to do is teach these dogs to, first thing we have to do is teach these dogs to walk upstairs, because we live in a stilt house. And greyhounds have never seen their track dogs, so all they know is a track and a kennel. That's all. That's it. That's their life. So you have to teach them how to go upstairs. So I reached underneath her to start lifting her, and I thought, this skin is just going to tear. It just felt so thin. And we used to carry a first aid kit around with us all the time. When we had the two girls, they would run hard and play really hard. And so were all these old skin nicks and things we were always bandaging up.
Losing nails, I remember several times.
Oh yeah, toenails. They'd have they'd run so hard they would damage a toenail. But Lucy one time was running really hard with Molly, and her back leg came up and spiked her front leg. So when she finally came back to me, of course she'd been running, heart rate up really high, blood pressure really high, and it was just flowing. And I thought, oh my gosh, what in the world? Put pressure on it. But as soon as she calmed down, it was just a puncture wound, and but scared me to death. But so we've had a lot of adventures with the greyhounds. They've been fun. Well, got a couple more to do, I guess. We'll do 2 more. Is that about?
Two's great.
Okay. One thing about songwriting is it sometimes get you out of a tight spot. One Valentine's Day, I realized that I was remiss in my preparations for Valentine's Day. I thought, well, I'm a songwriter, maybe I could write a song for Valentine's Day. So I did. I wrote this song. It's called You and Me. And a friend of mine, Scott Dalzell, also wrote a song called Me and You, which is a beautiful song. And when I heard that song, I thought, well, I won't be playing my song anytime soon. But then Scott moved to England, so
He's back.
he's back. Oh, well, this might be the last time I do this song.
He's relocating back to the States.
I knew he was coming. I didn't know he was
You
back.
heard about the song.
So he's coming back. All right, this song's called You and Me. You and me, we stuck together, you and me. That's what we got. Let me start that again. Well, you and me, we get each other, you and me. That's what we got. We stuck together, we'll stick it out, you and me, without a doubt. Yeah, you and me, we fit each other, you and me. We're tailor-made. You take it in, I let it out, you and me, without a doubt. You and me, we got that deluxe package with a lifetime guarantee. Between you and me, there ain't nothing ever gonna come between. You and me, you and me, we see each other, you and me, eye to eye. We rarely argue, we never shout, you and me, without a doubt. You and me, we got that deluxe package with a lifetime guarantee. Between you and me, there ain't nothing ever gonna come between. You and me, you and me, what we got together, it's beyond you and me. And if you ask me what love is all about, it's you and me, without a doubt. If you ask me what love is all about, it's you and me, without a doubt. Yeah, it's you and me, without a doubt. Thank you. Thank you. I'd just like to finish off with a song that I wrote walking the dog and waking the dead went through my head. And I thought, walking and waking. And I thought, how many of those I can come up with? And I thought, teasing and tossing, and just had a bunch of these words that all they did was change the vowel in the middle. And wrote them all down, and I thought, well, now I got to do something with that. So I wrote a song. And this is about a guy that's taking stock of his life and realizing that things have not quite gone as planned, and only to realize he never had a plan. So he's right where he's supposed to be. It's a song called No One to Blame. But I want to thank you all for coming out. We sure hope you had as much fun as we had. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us here. Thanks for hosting this. This has been just wonderful. Thank you very much.
We're gonna rock out a little on this.
This is the last one, so we're gonna hold back. We're gonna blow it all out for this one.
Should we do that? Oh, you see, you're good. He is.
There you go.
See?
That's really weird.
All right, thanks again. No one to blame. Well, I ain't panned out like I planned it. Then again, maybe it has. 'Cause I've been shifting like the wind, drifting like the sand. I took more than my fair share of chances. Full speed ahead when I should have stopped. And I knew that deck was stacked against me, but I drew my cards right off the top. I've been walking the dog and waking the dead. I'm talking to God. I take what he says with a grain of salt. And I've been teasing my fate and tossing it down. I called it too late, so I'm killing some time. But it's not my fault. But you know I got nobody I can blame. You know I got nobody I can blame. Pete Hennings. Thank you very much.
Should we let him do one more?
Please.
Oh, yeah.
One more.
Write something new.
Yeah, some of these I pulled out of the set list because they were in E. And a lot of my songs are in E, so. But this is a nice song. It's got a nice sentiment to it. I'm gonna get it in tune. I don't know why this gives me so much trouble with that. Normally it doesn't. This song was written by Paul Overstreet. Some of you may remember Paul. He wrote a lot of a good number of hits on the country radio back in the 70s and 80s. But he was just a real wholesome kind of a. He wrote that song, "Forever and Ever, Amen." I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen. You know, he's just really sweet songs. Really. So this is right down his. This is a typical song for him. It's got a song called "So It Goes." It's worth it. You know, it's just all part of the show, you know.
I got these big bushy eyebrows, so it's easy to see.
That's right.
All right.
Mansion on a hill, well, it's a lovely sight to see. But just like any house, it's only temporary. Home is any place you choose to put your heart. If there's no love inside, it soon will fall apart. Ashes to ashes, and dust into dust. Buildings will crumble, and bridges will rust. Mountains will disappear, and rivers will dry up.